Madam President, while we're getting set up here, I want to thank my fellow senator from Louisiana who just spoke about an issue of health savings accounts, flexible spending accounts. You know what always gets me about the pushback on something like this? When people are going to be able to make their own decisions and have the money go to them rather than an insurance company, for some reason the other side always underestimates the real intellect and the real thoughtful decision-making that go on in families every single day, no matter what your socioeconomic, how much money you make. They always underestimate the voter, and they're underestimating the ability of a family to make a decision about their own health care when they do that. So I congratulate him for his thoughtfulness, as always, and really common sense and really simplicity of what he's really saying. So if anybody's been outside today, and I know many of you are here working, unfortunately, it is an absolutely gorgeous day. Great day for football. Beautiful sun, not too hot, not too cold, gorgeous day. But for a lot of people, it's not a good day. A lot of people around this country are wondering when they're going to get to go back to work, when they're going to get paid, how they're going to feed their families, is their trip going to be canceled? All of this has been put on to the American people, and here we are again, day 39 of the Schumer shutdown. And what is there to show for it? Well, nothing, except a lot of pain on a beautiful day. The chart here, I'm going to put up here myself, is something that I think really hasn't been talked about enough, but it's really something we need to focus on because it shows the fairness of what's going on today. 13 times during the Biden-era presidency, we passed this exact same bill, extending government. Some of this, the VV, is by voice votes. I voted for every single one of these, and so did many of my colleagues. 13 times. And so I think you have to look at the contrast of we've well exceeded this 14 times and probably will again, where we're getting total obstruction from the other side. So families are anxious about their paychecks. Federal workers are not sure when they're going to go back. Capitol Police, the folks here, many of the folks in and around the D.C. area, and many West Virginians, because we have a lot of federal employees, don't know where their next paycheck's coming from. I'm really concerned about our SNAP recipients, about whether they'll be able to put food on the table. We have travelers stranded in airports all over this country. And our air traffic controllers, many of them are pushed to the brink. They're not getting paid. They've got a lot of anxiety about that because they have so many obligations, like many families. They can't meet the obligations. Veterans are facing delays as well. You know what? The American people do not deserve this. They deserve a beautiful day in the fall, watching their favorite football team, if that's what they want to do, or watching their grandchildren play soccer, and not have all of this put on top of them. So instead of ending the shutdown, the Democrats have come forward with their so-called offer, which is a one-year extension of the Obamacare Act subsidies. Well, let me make clear, as my colleagues have, this offer is just absurd. We've been doing this for 39 days, the government's been closed. 39 days. And yet this offer is supposed to be the bridge to the end. To me, that's just incredible. The plan is to give $26 billion handout to the insurance companies. Here's my second chart, which shows the revenues per day of insurance companies that do health insurance benefits through the exchange. I mean, it's not millions, it's hundreds of millions. And yet, the Democrats want to hand over another $26 billion. So who does it benefit? It benefits the wealthy. There's no fraud protections. It does nothing, absolutely nothing, to lower the cost of health care. And Dr. Cassidy made a compelling argument about that just previously. So while Americans are feeling the consequences of this shutdown, our colleagues' answer is to shovel $26 billion to the insurance companies. That's not compassion, that is fiscal insanity. So I had a conversation with my Democrat colleagues last night. And they said, well, you know, the insurance companies are saying that it's too late now for them to redo their insurance estimations because of what's going on. So or to make any adjustments, say if you want to bring the income down or you want to do no zero cost plans, it's too late. You know, I'm sitting there thinking, maybe that was the plan all along. Let's close the government for 39 days because now it's too late to make any adjustments. 39 days ago, with the government open, we could have been negotiating all of this. Our leader has sat there in the well every single day and offered to negotiate. The president has offered to negotiate. Many of us have, including me. Dr. Marshall here, Senator Marshall, has a plan that he's had in front of all of us. And yet we're now 39 days. So maybe that's the plan. Maybe that's the plan. Let's hold it out for 39 days so the insurance companies can get their $39 billion. And let's not forget what these subsidies are from. They're out of the COVID era, from the health care that they created and proudly call Obamacare, which none of us voted for. And these bonuses were never meant to be permanent, never. Or they could have attempted to make them permanent themselves. So they set them to expire this year. And the irony that they want to have them expire next year, right before an election, is not lost, I don't believe, on any of us. So instead of doing their job and simply reopening the government, this is not a hard exercise here. This is open the government. They want to make these temporary giveaways permanent. They want to double down on the failures of Obamacare. We're not even talking about the cost of health care, hardly. That whole argument is getting lost on this. A system that they have admitted on this floor, has not been working, and it has irrational demands. So these so-called premium subsidies, they don't lower the cost of health care. They simply shift the cost onto the taxpayer. And under the proposal, wealthy families, people making hundreds of thousands of dollars, would now qualify for taxpayer-funded health care. How many times have I sat on this floor and heard the argument from the other side that all we care about are millionaires and billionaires and eliminating taxes for them, when they themselves are putting $26 billion into the hands of very wealthy companies, but also individuals are able to take advantage of these. So how is that fair to a coal miner in Logan County, or a nurse in Mon County, or a teacher in Wheeling? It just plain is not. These West Virginians work hard every day. They pay their taxes. They expect government to live within its means. Well, not to say they expect government to be open. Isn't that kind of a given here? Government to be open and not hand out big bonuses to big insurers or the wealthy. So meanwhile, because of this shutdown, real people are paying the price. My state of West Virginia, not just thousands of families and people, hundreds of thousands of people are losing their SNAP, have lost their SNAP benefit, which they rely on every month. So when I think about that, what do I think about? I think about the young mother who's maybe a single mother with 2 kids, who's working hard every day but can't get insurance through their employer. They're working hard every day. She's got to be frantic, so concerned about how is she going to care for her kids. That is just an excruciating thought for any mother to have. Our seniors have the same thoughts. But these benefits are a risk because the Democrats won't do something simple like open the government. Our federal employees, our park rangers, our mine safety, my mine safeties, I've got a lot of coal mines. Mine safety inspectors are very thin right now, not doing a lot of their work. People who keep our communities safe, they are forced to wait, to wonder, and to worry. And it is a worry. Family, we're getting ready, we're leading up to Thanksgiving. They make plans in advance. They don't buy their ticket the day before they fly. They make plans in advance. In our family, our kids are married, so one year we get Thanksgiving and one year we get Christmas. So we're making a plan a year in advance to when we're all going to get together and be able to share fun times with our families. But now we got long lines, we got canceled flights, and growing frustration. All this chaos and uncertainty is so avoidable. I mean, 39 days is shameful. Senate Republicans have made clear we are ready to negotiate. I mentioned that. The leader, many of us here, including myself, the president himself, we're ready to debate. We're ready to get into this. But we're not going to negotiate until the government is open. That is such a reasonable proposition. And they will not take yes for an answer. I thought the irony that the Democrat leader used Senator Thune's words. Senator Thune, every time he talks, he says, take yes for an answer. And he tried to turn it on it, and I'm turning it back to him. You guys take yes for an answer and see where we are. I've talked a lot about the financial costs that this shutdown has brought forth on the American people, but there is a not-so-hidden cost here, one that's harder to measure, and that's the uncertainty and the anxiety that this is bringing to families and businesses across the country. Not to even mention what the international thought must be. What is wrong with these people that they won't open the government? This has got to be what the international community is thinking every day. So, the worry about where your next paycheck will come, when you'll be able to go back to work, when things get back to normal, when I can sit in the stands at my home football game and actually not have all these burdens on my mind. These costs can't quite be measured, but they are very, very real. So I have a hard time believing that my colleagues on the other side have truly grasped this impact. I don't know who they're talking to, but we're getting phone calls, personal conversations all day long talking about the cost of this shutdown. If they did grasp it, they wouldn't have dragged this out for 39 days. I've heard the news reports that some of them are feeling emboldened because of an election on Tuesday. So really? We're going to hold that young mother who's got those 2 kids, we're going to hold her hostage of whether she can feed her family because we have a political advantage? That is just a shameful thought in my opinion. But apparently, by their own words, it's real. You know what? There's no political advantage to a shutdown. I've been through so many of them. I voted many times to reopen the government. There's no political advantage to having our government shut. So I'm also a member of the Appropriations Committee, and I have to say, after many years of stagnant, we've passed bills out of committee, including my bill to fund the Departments of Health, Education, and Labor. It is historically a very challenging bill to pass, but we passed it out of committee with bipartisan support. It's waiting here to be brought up to the floor. We passed 3 bipartisan bills through the full Senate, and hopefully we'll be able to vote on those shortly. Leader Thune has fulfilled a commitment to bring these bills to the floor with more to come. Because you know what? That's what legislating is all about. That's what legislators do. So one of the great frustrations to me in this whole process is that the members who supported these bills in committee and on the Senate floor now won't allow us to move forward on these bills. So today I urge my Democrat colleagues, stop with the gimmicks, stop with the political advantage and the political theater. Stop holding the government and the American people hostage to a partisan wish list. West Virginians don't want political gains. They want their government open. They want their benefits secure. They want their leaders focused on results. Let's reopen the government. Let's restore certainty and sanity. And then let's let the hard work of reforming our healthcare system in a way that lowers costs and empowers patients. Patients and families. We could have been doing this for 39 days, by the way, but we can't until the government reopens. That's what leadership looks like. That's what government looks like and governing, and that's what the American people deserve. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor.